Hey everyone, welcome back for another video. Yesterday, my wife and I flew out to Salt Lake City, and today we are heading up to Yellowstone National Park. We've never been to Yellowstone in September. I've always wanted to do that, so we're gonna come up here for a day or two. Then we're hoping to get into Idaho, get some potato harvest videos for my YouTube channel. And then I am going elk hunting with my son up in the mountains of Utah, archery elk hunting. So hopefully I get enough footage to make a good video of all this. Stay tuned. Right now we are cruising up the highway through Island Park, Idaho on our way up to West Yellowstone. It's looking like it's going to turn out to be a beautiful September day. Welcome to Montana. We are now officially in Yellowstone National Park. We come in through the West Yellowstone entrance. Steam like a jacuzzi. We've been to Yellowstone quite a few times, so we're not going to stop at a lot of these things like the hot springs and stuff here we've seen before. We really just want to get to the Lamar Valley and do some wildlife viewing. That is our plan since we're just going to be here for a day. On time is when I get there. Well, look at this. We're going to get some heavy machinery involved in this video anyhow. Back on some pavement. The summer of 2022, there were some big rains that had hit parts of Yellowstone National Park and washed out some roads and so forth, and I believe this is one of those spots. We have not been to Yellowstone since the summer of 2020, so it's been a few years here, but like I said, I believe this is one of those spots. I could be wrong, but it sure looks like it. We just went through the Lamar Valley. We're coming up on the northeast entrance or exit of Yellowstone National Park, almost to Cooke City. So it's about lunchtime. We're going to head up to Cooke City here, get some lunch. We saw this bison walking across this meadow right here, so we're going to stop and watch him a little bit. Now, we've already seen hundreds of bison so far. I didn't take any pictures. We did have the spotting scope out, the binoculars. We watched them, but hey, we got a spot to pull over here. Let's see what this guy does. I think he's coming right towards me. He looks kind of friendly. Maybe I'll just step out and even pet him. Yeah, I'm just kidding about the part of getting out and petting him. Even though bison seem like a pretty chill animal, we all know they're pretty quick and they can do a lot of damage. But he is literally like walking right up to us. When our kids were little and we come to Yellowstone, they were just like, yes, please take out. They wanted a buffalo or a bison to just take out the front of our vehicle. I really hope that don't happen, but it would be some awesome footage. I bought a new video camera before this trip, and what I learned is if I don't have a microphone plugged into it, it doesn't record sound. So that's why I have no sound of this buffalo actually talking to us. I wonder if somebody's going to watch this video and make a comment because I said buffalo and not bison. I really think he's looking at me saying, I'm going to be on YouTube because that's Farmhand Mike in that truck. He's coming over. I think he wants me to pet him. We are now officially out of Yellowstone National Park. We are just rolling into Cooke City, Montana here, and we're going to find something to eat. Now, we've been here a few times. There's a couple good places to eat. We will find something, but we're just going to take a little tour through town here with the GoPro, show you what the city looks like, and then we're going to head back into the park, and we are going to Jackson Hole, Wyoming for the evening. Now, if you continue on this road, this will take you up through Beartooth Pass, which is really neat. We've been there a few times, and then you can continue on to Billings, Montana. I'm also told Cooke City is a great snowmobile hotspot in the wintertime. One of these years, we will make it here and ride. But for now, this is a summertime view. We had lunch. Now we're going to head back into Yellowstone National Park. Now this morning we come in through the West Yellowstone entrance and there was just way too much traffic to get a picture of the sign. So just grab that one there and we are now heading in here. Again, this is the northeast entrance, exit, whatever you want to call it, to Yellowstone National Park. We're now back in the construction zone where they had it shut down to one lane, so we had about a 10-minute wait here. So I got out and enjoyed the scenery. We came across this coyote and he seemed pretty photogenic, so here's a little coyote footage. And he's got a pretty nice coat on him. Looks like he's pretty healthy. Of course, here I am saying he. It might be a she. I don't know. I can't tell from here. When we was going through the Lamar Valley right in this area back in the summer of 2020, we did see a wolf from a distance. We was able to get the binoculars on him and watch him a little bit. Seen a black bear, but this year was just pretty much buffalo. And generally we'll come across a few elk at least, but not so much luck this year. And of course, grizzly bears. Everybody loves to see a grizzly bear when you're in Yellowstone. We did see some in the summer of 2020, but this year, no grizz either. It's been our experience when we do see a grizzly bear in Yellowstone. Of course, a lot of people are stopping to take pictures and watch the grizz, and there's generally a park ranger there pretty quick. It's getting to be the middle of the afternoon at this point. I have a hotel booked in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. We're still a few hours away from there, so I suppose we better start making our way there. And who knows what we'll come across between here and there. Just more buffalo. And we made it to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Mary Piglet's is a Mexican restaurant in Jackson Hole we discovered a couple years ago. We really like it. So here we are having dinner at Mary Piglet's. After dinner, we walked around Jackson Hole a little bit, saw the usual things. We did not go inside the Cowboy Bar. We wanted to get back to our hotel, get a good night's sleep, and get an early start the next day. All right, I don't do enough of this telling you what's going on here, but we stayed in Jackson Hole, Wyoming last night after a good day in Yellowstone, and I am going to go over here to the Dog and get a breakfast burrito. This place has awesome breakfast burritos, so let's go check it out. All right, got the meat burrito here, so let's take a bite of this thing. And yes, that burrito was just magnificent. Had that and some orange juice. What a way to start the day. But before we head out, we're going to just drive up here past the Grand Tetons one more time. We are on the east side of the Tetons, so the sun is hitting them just right. When we come through here last night, the sun was on the backside and kind of blinding us so we couldn't get a good view. Then we're going to just drive around here. So a lot of times we see moose through here, sometimes some buffalo a little farther up. So we got some time to kill here. Let's see what we can find. You can take all the pictures and video you want of the Grand Tetons, but there's just something about seeing them in person that does it for me. We've been to this area quite a few times as a family. Again, this is the first time my wife and I have been here without any of our children. But we're going to head down some back roads here. We've been back here in the wintertime and seen some wildlife, so... And once you know it, there's a beaver pond back here. We found this a couple years ago in the winter time, but there's some deer down here, so I guess we're going to see a little bit of wildlife before we get out of this area. I'm zoomed in here with the video camera, so I'm far enough away that I'm not a bother to them. We'll just watch them play around here a little bit, and then we will move on. And now coming up, here's a few photos and videos I took before we got out of the area. Enjoy. Time to say goodbye to Wyoming. We'll probably be back next March. Anyways, we're going to hop over here to Idaho and hopefully find some farm stuff to film for my YouTube channel. And we did all right over in Idaho. I did find a couple things. Of course, if you're a regular viewer of my YouTube channel, you would have seen these videos by now. I did find one farm that was digging potatoes and harvesting barley on the corners. And then I got a little farther over and got some sugar beet harvest. These two videos are already posted on my YouTube channel. If you've not seen them, definitely want to go back and find them and check them out. And before completely getting out of Idaho, went over and visited Farm Equipment USA, who has a new location in Jerome, Idaho. These guys are a versatile dealer I used to call on that had one location over in Caldwell. Now they have two locations in Utah, so it was good to see their new place. After lunch that day, we made it back to our son's place, and we were getting stuff packed up and ready to go elk hunting. Even got to spend a little time with our new granddaughter. So in case you didn't know, my wife and I are now officially grandparents. This is our little granddaughter, Aria. And now my son and I are heading up into the northern part of Utah for an elk hunt. So he is going archery elk hunting. I'm coming along just to help him out. If he gets one, help him pack it out. But we're going to be up in the mountains here for 4 days. No cell phone signal, no communication. We might not even see another human being. Hopefully we see a lot of wildlife, and let's see how it goes. That's the end of the pavement. I popped the drone up here and I figured I would follow us up, climbing a little elevation. We have now officially made it to our campsite. My son's next door neighbor that he lives by comes up here every year elk hunting. He pulls a camper up here, so we're going to set our tent up and camp right beside him. Our plan is to get camp set up here and get out for an evening hunt. Camp is all set up. We're going to go out and do a little afternoon exploring before the hunt. Now you may have noticed a lot of cattle up here. We are at 9,000 feet elevation. A lot of ranchers have cattle up here that they're grazing, and then before the snow flies, they'll herd everything back down into the valley. Then we took the Ranger out. There's some beaver activity down here. We're going to go out and check out some beaver ponds, beaver dams, and so forth. And my son brought his bow along just in case. Now this is a major beaver highway if I've ever seen one. Behind me, they are taking down a bunch of trees and then they are dragging them down here to their habitat. So they built a dam down here and a lodge. Here's some of those trees they chewed up that they are dragging down there on that path you seen. Take out some pretty big chunks, don't they? And just a short ways away from here was another beaver habitat. So there was a creek through here and they had this whole thing stepped down, just dam after dam after dam. Good beaver habitat. We did see a big beaver swimming. Unfortunately, I didn't have my good video camera to zoom in. We went out for our evening hunt. This was an old beaver pond here that had washed out. But last year when they were up here, somebody did get an elk right here in this area. We sat down here for a while. We just didn't see anything on this evening. And of course, there was a lot of deadfall back where we were, so we had a lot of logs to step over. We made it back to camp. No elk tonight. We're going to get the grill fired up here, have some dinner, go to bed, and we're going to get up very early and take a nice nature hike. All right, Andrew's getting the Blackstone fired up here tonight. So, what's on the menu?
I think it's chicken stir fry tonight.
All right. It is 4:30 a.m. We are getting up to go out and hunt. We got about a 2-mile hike in, and it is 33 degrees here in the tent this morning. And here is some exclusive footage of our walk in the dark. So we hiked back in. I think it was over 2 miles here. And there's a known spot back here where Andrew has seen some elk bedded down during the day. So we're going to get back here, try to get set down somewhere when the elk are coming in, figure out where they're bedding, see what we can do. Sit here for a bit and see what happens. And I believe we have found some fairly fresh elk droppings right here. It's about 9 a.m. We have not seen anything moving, so we're getting pretty hungry here. We're going to stop and have breakfast. Our morning breakfast and morning coffee was pretty good. Well, we're going to keep moving and make our way back to camp, and let's see if anybody's out talking. Although we have yet to see any elk or deer or other big wildlife, the scenery has been pretty spectacular. But we may be having ruffed grouse for lunch.
I missed them.
Spirit Lake. And it just wouldn't be a Farmhand Mike video if there wasn't some sort of machinery involved, so here you go. We're now back at camp for a few hours, so we're going to cook up some lunch here. So we're going to have some sandwiches with obviously a fried egg. We got ham, we got turkey, we got cheese, so these should be pretty good. After lunch, we hung out at the campsite for a bit. Now we are headed out for our evening hunt. Andrew's neighbor Derek has his Polaris Ranger up here, so we are headed out to a different spot with him for our evening hunt. We're going out to an area, there's a little bit of a meadow kind of down in a valley. We're going to walk up to it. There's a pond there, and it's known that elk will come in there maybe after they bed it down through the day for a drink before they go out to do their thing through the night. Here's some of the sights on the way out. This morning, and looks like it'd be a good spot. I don't know, we'll see. We got a pond down here we're overlooking that some elk do come into for water, so we probably got about 2.5 hours till it's dark, so I think we're in a good spot, but we will soon find out. Until sunset, so starting to cool down a little bit. Not terrible, but it's been a nice day. But now we're gonna really pay attention here. Go for it. As you can see, the camouflage did not do anything for the cows. They picked us right out. They're coming in for their evening drink. Again, this is all open range up here until the weather cools down. Then they will drive the cattle back down into the valley for winter. But hey, I guess this is better than seeing absolutely nothing at all. All right, it's about 8:45. We're back at camp. Just changed clothes. And Andrew's got the griddle fired up. We're going to have some hamburgers, cheeseburgers, and macaroni and cheese. And then probably go to bed and see if the tent gets down to 33 degrees tonight. mac and cheese, we got cheeseburgers, we got eggs to go on. Yes. It's 5:30 in the morning here on Saturday, and we got about a mile hike up this mountain, and there's going to be a place up there we're going to find where we can kind of sit down and watch. Morning coffee break on the mountain. Well, we didn't see a darn thing this morning. We're gonna head back to camp, make some breakfast, and I guess figure out where we're gonna go this evening. But anyways, the view is good. And there's some elk droppings. We're gonna go fishing.
Thank you. And probably good things. I'm pretty sure he swallowed it.
Okay.
Come home. It's a back.
Right here.
Maybe a small one because it's a whale. Like the other one. See, that's what's weird is the first few days, nope, there's a bite. they're big enough to.
It unhooked itself.
Little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the coolest.
You never thought of fishing from the shore.
Oh, that was they're the same way. We're up here on the archery hunt.
Okay, I am out on the reservoir and I turned around and saw this great big beaver lodge. So this reservoir has been drained for the winter time, but apparently some beavers had built their lodge here banking on this was not going to be drained. But I've done some trapping videos where I showed the beaver lodge and stuff like that, but here's a good chance to look at one and we can see where the water level was and how they have a couple entrances. Some of them only have one, but this one I think has 3 that I've seen so far. So let's just take a look at this thing and check it out. So the water level was up here at one time. So they built it into the water a little bit, but they have their entrances underneath and then they swim up in, and that's where they live. This gives the family of beavers excellent protection against any predators. So this looks like this was probably the main entry exit, and you can see that shoots straight out there. So like when I've trapped beavers, I would set like a 330 conibear, the body gripping trap, right there, so you're going to catch them either coming out or going in. All right, so like I said, that looks like the main one, and then there's also another one here. So my guess is the water level was probably somewhere in here. Usually those entryways are below the water level. Not usually, they are. But let's just zoom in here. So this is just made of mud and sticks. And most of these sticks, you can see where they chewed them off, but they eat the bark off here. And then after they eat the bark off, then they bring them in and use them to either build their dams or build their lodge. But if I tried to pull this thing apart right now, these are very well constructed. Like I could walk up on here and this thing is just solid. All right, let's head over here. Yeah, I think they had another maybe entryway here that was a little bit higher. Maybe not, but I think it is. And then you can see here, this growth here around the lodge. You can see where they ate those sticks off, cut them down, and ate the bark off. Same way with around here. But you can see the water level is way out there now, so I don't think beaver would currently be in here right now just because they don't have that protection from predators that could just come up inside. That's why a lot of times beavers build dams on running streams and stuff like that, because when they build that dam, they can maintain that water level. Like on a lake like this, when they build it, I would guess they are assuming that water level is going to stay there, but since this is actually a reservoir that was drained farther down on, they have no control. I don't think as fast as they can build stuff, they could go down there and fix that reservoir in time to keep that water level up. But anyways, that's a little Beaver 101 from Farmhand Mike here. Well, I'm out here on my elk hunt. I mean, since we haven't seen any elk yet, I'm looking for other things. And then just over from the beaver lodge here is the inlet to this reservoir.
should just run it right along the back of that bone. And don't cut through the skin. Drive right up to it. Even tonight at Bull Springs, you could drive down there. Like I said, it's steep, but how far?
All right, there's 9 fish. What do we do? Fillet 5 and half.
4.
I think 4. Yeah. So yeah.
Chopped onion and Cajun.
Okay.
Yeah, my dear. Hey.
I hear you. That's
Is that enough butter for one fish?
On the grill.
Okay.
Be easier than going grabbing this thing from inside.
Yep. Get out of here.
After having some fresh fish for lunch, we thought we'd go explore some beaver habitat again. Here's one they were dragging that got left behind. When we was back here the other day, I did not have my good video camera with me to zoom in, but there was a big beaver playing around the other day that would come up on land and check the dams and so forth. Hopefully he'll show his face today and we can get some footage of him. Their lodge is just to the right where that dead pine is. But this whole low spot was nothing but dams, and then just go down, there'd be another dam, and they just went on for a long ways. And it's not uncommon to see moose down here. Unfortunately, while we was up here, just seeing big game was a challenge. There's a big beaver in the back. And some waterfowl. I'm zoomed out pretty far here, but that's a pretty good sized beaver right back there. we are headed back out for our evening hunt. Okay, here we are Saturday night, and we are going to hike down below here and set up for our elk hunt. This is my last night here, so hopefully it's a good one. And another day without seeing anything. We're headed back to camp now. This is our last night here. We're going to go back, get supper, and we still are going to hunt tomorrow morning.
Old stir fry cooked up.
Yep.
Dinner is served.
Again, we got up early. We hiked back into this area in the dark. We sat, we waited. Definitely elk back here. We're not terribly far from camp at this point. Andrew actually had a really close encounter with a moose back here last year. Maybe I just brought the bad luck to the hunt. But seriously, this is just the way hunting goes. Sometimes you see stuff and a lot of times you don't. We're going to use this old beaver dam to cross over to the other side. Droppings. Well, we're not doing very good on the elk, but we're definitely in some extreme beaver habitat. But we're not here to trap beaver. We're here to shoot an elk. I don't think I've ever seen a beaver chew down a pine tree, but I can honestly say now it happens. Probably not the best tasting wood for them, I don't know that. But right now we are on the other side of those videos I was showing you earlier where we was up top. So we're down here by that big dam where that beaver was swimming around. Now that we're close, they probably won't come out, but we have to cross here at some point and walk across to get back to camp. But by flooding this area out, building their habitat, you can see it affected those trees right there, and their lodge is right over on the other side. You can kind of see it there in the background. That pile of mud and sticks. But they just have this thing dammed up all the way down in steps like you see here. That way they can navigate back and forth to get the food sources Staying in the water keeps them away from some of their predators and stuff like that. But they're just an interesting animal. And over there in the distance by that tree that looks like it's dying, you can see the beaver lodge right there away from the dam. We're going to jump across the creek right here and hike back to camp. All right, so we didn't see a darn thing this morning. We got back to camp, changed into my civilian clothes, have breakfast. Now we're going to go get Andrew's truck. We drove his truck down, and then we made a loop and hiked our way back to camp. So, yeah, we're going to get his truck, and then that's going to do it for us, unfortunately. And then we'll be packing up and heading back to Salt Lake City. Time to pack up. All right, we are coming down the mountain. It was a fun trip. Good camping trip, good nature hike. Unfortunately, we don't have an elk with us, but that's the way hunting goes. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. Feel free to comment below. If you're new to my channel, I'd really appreciate if you go down there and hit that subscribe. And you can also follow me along on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Farmhand Mike. As always, thank you for watching and supporting my social media.